And Jesus went to the Mount of Olives. Now, early in the morning, he came again into the temple, and all the people came to him, and he sat down and taught them. Then the scribes and Pharisees brought to him a woman caught in adultery, and when they had set her in his midst, they asked him, "Teacher, this woman was caught in adultery in the very act. Now Moses is the law, and it commanded us that such an act should be stoned. What have you to say?" This they said, testing him, might have something to which to accuse him. But Jesus stooped down and wrote on the ground with his finger, as though he did not hear. So when they continued asking him, he raised himself up and said to them, "He who is without sin among you, let him throw a stone at her first." And again he stooped down and wrote on the ground. Then those who heard it, being convicted of their conscience, went one by one, beginning with the oldest, even to the last. And Jesus was left alone, and the woman standing in the midst. And when Jesus had raised himself up, he said, and saw that no one but the woman was there, he asked her, "Woman, where are those accusers of yours? Has no one condemned you?" She said, "No one, Lord." And Jesus said to her, "Neither do I condemn you. Go and sin no more." Then Jesus spoke to them again, saying, "I am the light of the world. He who would follow me shall not walk in darkness, but have the light of life." The reading today was John 8, verses 1 through 12. We sure have a whole lot of condemning going on these days. It always seems to be somebody else's fault. I understand the pain and the hurt. It's as if we have been given free will, but we think we are God's, and we've wrecked a whole lot of things. We shoot each other, we rage at war, we ignore Mother Earth, we worship greed. We're disconnected from our souls that therefore makes us sick. And in response, we blame others, any other. So what is to be done? Jesus has a fascinating response. He's being tested, perhaps not so much by the crowd as by crowd mentality. He cannot contradict Jewish law nor Roman law. So he defers to divine law. He stoops in the ground. We're not told what he writes. The New King James Version that I read today poses that he writes the 10 Commandments, so that's complete conjecture. And I suspect he had them memorized by then anyway. What's astounding is that he drops to the ground in prayer, almost in supplication. When in a pickle, Jesus calls on divine law and brings it down to the earth plane. To me, it doesn't matter what he wrote. The point is that he calls on a higher power than the human law of binary guilt, not guilt, do we stone her, do we not stone her mentality. He does it twice. And God's law turns the tide. It nullifies, neutralizes our human thinking, making it void and obsolete. This biblical narrative is the world we live in, where our best intentions, our worst intentions, are just so limited. With our free will, we have let a child take the wheel, and it's time to change that pattern. first step seems to be an important one, which the crowd and of Jesus made as well. They stopped. They just stopped. They walked away, one by one. Oh, I'm sure there was grumbling under their breath. But they let go of the wheel. It's a crucial first step. We can no longer think that we know better. We do not. It has led to dreadful race relations, vast discrepancies in wealth, hunger, poverty. Clearly, we don't know what we're doing. So, step one is just to stop. Let ourselves be the flawed humans 3.0 that we are, and not demand us to solve every problem and become human 5.0. Then we can respect where we are, accept it. But above all, do not make it grow up too fast. No scolding, no chastising, no stoning, as Jesus does. And then the miracle happens. Our higher selves flood into the void. It was there all along, waiting for the invitation to intervene. Jesus pulls it down by scribbling in the dirt, waiting for free will to surrender and invite a higher power to take over daily operations. Calling on divine law is not a moral code. It's not telling one how to behave. In fact, Jesus doesn't accuse anyone individually. He just turns the question around, providing the impetus for self-reflection, a new state of mind. And it's no judgment of our young species, quite the contrary. It's honoring our true developmental age and not requiring it to be more advanced than we really are. It's like raising a child and wishing it were 32 and independent instead of cherishing the glories of being 5. And blessedly, it won't take much time. Higher self will immediately course correct and provide instant healing. As the song goes, Jesus take the wheel, except we might say, Christ self take the wheel. And when we do, I suspect we will hear something like, stop, pull over, drop your burdens, your judgments, your unreal expectations. Be gentle with yourself and others. Enjoy life and not the manipulation of it. Go and sin no more. This is an alchemy not of matter, but of awareness, not a change of tactics, but of consciousness. And we don't need to learn it in real time. As anyone who has spent time in therapy will attest, you can heal a lifetime with one epiphany. I've noticed that when the higher self is asked to steer, there's a wonderful view from the back seat. No driving, no striving, watching creation itself unfold before our very eyes. I wouldn't be surprised if Jesus wrote nothing at all in the dirt, just played in the sand like a child. For he says, assuredly, I tell you, unless you become as little children, you will by no means enter the kingdom of heaven. And from the back seat, we can watch the act of creation itself. Jesus says in the very last phrase of our scripture today. I am the light of the world. Whoever follows me, follows their own Christhood, will never walk in darkness, but will have the light of life itself. Dear congregants, be a child at heart. Relinquish the wheel.